This week here on Music Cap, Naya is going to be chatting with Dan Rose, who is a musician. You're also a well dressed musician, by the way, which is fantastic. So,
Thank.
Dan, tell me and Naya a little bit about yourself, and I know Naya's going to have some questions for you here in a few.
Yeah, well, basically, I'm a singer-songwriter on my own, a solo artist who does things my own way without a big label, uh, full of DIY spirit and some cool songs.
Well, cool. Well, so out of all the songs that you've created, which song kind of speaks to you a little bit more? That took you a little bit more time, or that you're saying, okay, yeah, this track is good. Which one speaks to you?
Well, last year I released a song called "Copenhagen Eats Itself," and that song is kind of important to me. It's a song about all those people who move to the big city to follow their dreams. And when they get to the big city, they get swallowed up by the whole glitter drama, and they forget what they wanted to do. So that is kind of a tribute to staying in your own little pond and doing things your own way. And I kind of like the title "Copenhagen Eats Itself." So the title speaks of which country I'm from, because I'm from Denmark, and then Copenhagen eats itself. It just sounds so odd in a funny way.
Wow, wow. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Cat. My name is Naya with me. And why don't you tell us how did you begin in this music industry? How old were you when you stepped into the industry of creating music? And when did you say, you know what, I want to start making songs for the world?
Yeah, well, that's a two-part story, and that's a great question. Um, when I was a late teen, I realized that being a musician maybe is not only for picking up cute girls. Maybe it's also about having something to say, to have something on your mind. So I started to write some lyrics, and then a guy from the work, I had a part-time work as a cleaner in a butcher house, and a colleague of mine, he taught me a few chords on the guitar, so I could write my own songs. And for a while, that was all fine. Being a songwriter is about being able to write a few songs. So I thought, yeah, here we go. Then
Wow, wow.
fast forward many years and nothing happened, and I realized, wow, if you want something to happen, you have to really make it happen on your own. So
Right.
a few years ago, I started recording my own songs and booking my own gigs and doing everything myself instead of waiting for someone else to do it.
Right, right. That's what you got to do. Sometimes you got to lash out and be like, you know what, I got to get this done if that's what you
Mhm.
want to do. So you say that you had started with someone. Was this the band that you were supposed to like, hey, are you still with this band, or did you just go off and be like, look, I'm just going to go do my own thing?
Yeah, well, I thought I just gonna do my own thing, and then I figured that when I did my own thing, that everyone was gonna be blown away about how amazing I was. So that was the thought. So I figured there's gonna be a band, and there's gonna be a big label. There's gonna be a lot of things. And the truth is, those things don't come easy. And along the way, I learned that I really like doing things on my own. I like being flexible. I like being kind of a minimalist. So I try to keep everything as simple as possible, and it doesn't get any more simple than just a man and a guitar.
So you said, so you did go through some obstacles and some difficulty times. I mean, how did you get past all those, like where, hey, you know, people wasn't listening to you, you wasn't as popular as you are now. I mean, your songs wasn't selling, and then all of a sudden it just kind of bloomed. It happened like not overnight, but just within time. How do you feel your music was then and how it is now, like the change? How do you feel about that?
Well, I tend to be pretty critical of myself when I look back on my old songs and old music, but I'm also very aware that every mistake I make and every stupid decision I make is an opportunity to learn and grow. So even bad songs and bad performances and bad decisions has taught me something. And honestly, I'm very happy about where I am now with my new music, and uh, there's some gigs on the way in these Corona times. So all the things I have right now, I wouldn't have them if I hadn't made bad decisions in the past.
Yes, and you mentioned, I like how you mentioned the coronavirus or whatever like that, because I mean they're saying that we're getting back to the hard times where we might get shut back down. I mean, you know, how did that affect your industry when we did get shut down for that long period of time and nobody was doing anything? I mean, were you like, did it affect you any? Did it affect your career any?
Well, the way I have set up my musical career is I have a premise that is I should not count on my music to bring in money to pay for rent and food. So I have a part-time job that pays my rent. So I try to live as cheap as possible so I don't have to work as much. And that means that when the coronavirus hit, my music career was hit, but I still had a part-time job so I can support myself. And
Exactly.
I have many music friends who is way worse off because they're like full-time musicians, and when that goes away, there's no support for them. So I got it lucky.
It's yes, yes, and I mean you do. You have to keep. It's like you want to stay with the music industry, but then when this pandemic hits, and then, like they say, it might hit again. I mean, it does affect those full time musicians that just focus on this and don't have anything to fall back on.
Hmm.
It is kind of hard now. So how do you know cope with all the obstacles of you going through? You probably the depression or anything like that, but just writing music and getting irritated or anything like that. Have you ever witnessed anything or have that happen to you during the pandemic and things like that?
Well, I actually, not to be overly proud of myself, but I think I handle things pretty well. But obviously, along the years, and especially these last 18 months, the uncertainty of what tomorrow is going to bring, that alone is a source of much frustration. And I am just aware that I can only change the things I can change. The things I cannot change, I I have to be able to let that go and appreciate what I have here and now, and
That
then hope for the best and try to make the right decision every day in order to have a better tomorrow.
you got to, and like you said, you have friends, you have family, you know that supports you, that's there with you through the thick and thin, that helps you along the way. So you say you have music coming out. I mean, what can we look forward to in the future? What music do you got us surprised with coming up?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna release a song called "My Heart Belongs with You," and it's a song I have been playing at gigs for the last 4 or 5 years, I think, but I have never recorded it because it didn't fit on any album or EP. So I thought, well, this 2021 year is gonna be a bit weird, I think, because of the corona. So instead of a big album launch or something, let me just put out a few songs, and that song fits the bill. So it's on the surface, it's a love song, but I like to twist things up. So from my perspective, it's actually a love song written from the point of view of a stalker. So
Oh,
that's the twist.
wow. So you say a stalker. Give more detail. Like what? I mean, I know. Have you already written out the video or the music video for it or what?
Yeah, I have the. Well, the thing is, you know the TV show called Criminal Minds?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and they featured stalkers in many episodes, and
Oh
I
yeah.
I like that series. So the stalker always think he's right. He always thinks that they're meant to be. So I
Right.
just wrote a love song from that guy's point of view.
Oh my gosh. So he kind of flipped it.
Yeah, but when you hear the song, it just sounds like a regular love song.
But then it flips into you're at the end. You're like, this is coming from a criminal.
This is coming from a criminal. This is
Oh my
creepy.
gosh, I love it, and I watch Criminal Minds like all the time. I love it.
Cool.
So where can they find like the music in your kind of music? Where is your music at?
Well, my music is on every streaming service you can imagine, even the illegal ones if they still exist. Um, but I have a website called danrosedk.com. Dan Rose DK, because I'm from Denmark and DK is short for Denmark. So danrosedk.com. I have the links for YouTube and iTunes and Spotify and all that. And this new song is gonna be out on August 6th, I think. And then there's gonna be some more music after that. But I'm gonna take it one song at a time.
Yes, you got to. I mean, hey, but that's awesome. So you said it's everywhere where we can find you at.
I usually say to people, if you are on some music service and you cannot find my music, please get in touch and tell me, because my music is supposed to be everywhere.
Well, I know Jiggy had commented on the way you're dressing, and I'm digging the hat. I'm digging the way you look. It is so awesome. A lot of industries or a lot of musicians have their own way of style and their own way of coming out. So is this like your style, or what is your style in your music? Tell us a little bit about like your wardrobe.
Sure. Well, I usually wear this kind of hat. I have a few to choose from, different colors.
Love it.
Otherwise, I try to keep it simple. I like black clothes, black shirt, black jeans, and usually when I release a video or a photo, it's usually in black and white, because I want the colors and the style to reflect my music, which is basically pretty simple. Most of the time, it's just me and a guitar and a few other sounds, but I like to record everything as simple as possible. I like to be able to perform anywhere. I like to be able to record a song anywhere without having a big drum kit or a big light show or something. So I just try to keep it simple, and I kind of like this type of hat. I get many compliments for it, but well, it's just a hat.
I love it. So, one last question: how old were you when you came out with your own look? When you did your music or whatever. Matter of fact, how old were you when you started the music industry?
Well, early 20s.
Okay, early 20s. And then when did you say, oh, you know what, I'm going to come out with my own look? Because, there's a lot of artists trying to copycat other artists out there. And you can't. You have to be your own self. You have to be original. You have to be, you have to come out with your own style. That's what makes you you. So when you come out with your own style, like, you know what, this is going to be me. This is how I'm going to look. This is how I want people to see me.
Yeah, well, when I started out, I was really inspired by a few specific bands, and the one thing they had in common was many colors and big shouty anthems and a lot of noise and glitter and all that. And I thought I had to copy that to become an artist. But somewhere along the way, I shifted and realized that, well, I'm the kind of person who likes to keep things simple. So maybe my music and maybe my wardrobe style should reflect that.
Right.
So when people look at me, they recognize that it's actually me, and I'm not someone pretending to be something I'm not.
Exactly. So, and that's what you have to be. You have to be original. You have to come out with your own look or whatever like that. And I mean, it helps you with it helps you with your music, because you don't got to copycat nobody. This is you. This is you coming out with your own type of music. Now, the music that you have already created, like any other songs that you have any of those songs reflect your lifestyle? Like, which song speaks of you? Like you can put your actual life into this song.
Oh, I think that's a song called "On My Way." It's from my debut album I released in 2018.
Wow.
It's the final song of the album, and the point of it is that it's about being an adult and realizing that getting older is not a bad thing. Well, yeah, sure. When you're young, you have more energy and all that, but as you get older, you get wiser about yourself. And I think there's great value in really getting to know yourself, knowing what makes you tick, what makes you happy, what makes you sad. Like really getting to know yourself has great value. And I think that song "On My Way" is about coming to terms with who you are and then finding your own way. And it might not be the way that leads to success or wealth or something, but just being on your own way, on your true own way, should lead you to some kind of happiness, and that is what I'm after.
Yes, if you could tell any other music industries that are coming out, that are just now fresh starting out, that wants to start the music industry, what would you tell them as far as any advice or anything?
Yeah, well, the old saying that you have to be true to yourself, it really means a lot to me, because if you succeed while not being true to yourself, in the end, it's not going to feel like a real success. You're always going to feel like a fake or an imposter or something. So even though being true to yourself might make it seem like there's a longer path to success, you have to really be true to yourself, because that way, when you achieve success, you're going to really feel like you achieved it and not someone you pretend to be. So right. I'm really serious about being true to yourself and standing by what you believe in.
Thank you. A word of wisdom. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Rose, for interviewing with us today here on Music Cap. We appreciate you. You're very inspirational. I can't wait to hear any of the future songs that you have coming out. I can't wait. Thank you so much. We can't appreciate it more.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
Yes.
Well, Dan, I appreciate you making time for us today on Music Cap, and we're going to play some of your music right now. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And we are going to go now to Dan Rose. My Heart Belongs to You. It's on Music Cap.
I could spend all my time holding your hand in mine. My heart belongs with you. Love, sweet love, I want you to stay. Oh, love, sweet love, never change. I could spend my whole damn life holding you in my arms. My heart belongs with you. Love, sweet love, I want you to stay. Oh, love, sweet love, never change. My whole heart, it belongs. My whole heart, it belongs with you. Even if my love is not enough for you. Love, sweet love, I want you to stay. opposite of cheating, but I'm not playing fair. I give the opposite of hate, but it ain't always love. I do the opposite of what I think will lead to a bad life. Maybe someday I will get the opposite. I do the opposite of what I think will lead to a bad life. Maybe someday I will get the opposite. I will earn it. I will deserve it.
To the seaside on the train, he rushed past fields and country lanes. He clung on to the end of the line, skipped across the platform into the sunshine, and a town full of nuts and good for swinging, where many have fled for a new beginning. With his typewriter, cigarette and sea view, he heard a voice say, "Terrible boo-boo, you are free for a day. You can run, you can play, even when they say, terrible boo-boo." Preston Street Casino for pump two. He jumped on the table and threw his chips around the room. He started up a midnight fight, drinks flying as he's swinging from the lights, and bicycle down to the lagoon. He chewed through wires under a full moon as the lights went out on Millionaires Row. A voice said, "Oh, terrible boo-boo, you are free for a day. You can run, you can play, even when they say, terrible boo-boo." Suddenly throwing stones into the sea, watch the pink clouds of a fading day. They can take us away. You are free for a day. You can run, you can play, even
if I can't do this? What if they all find out I'm really not that tough? What if all those times I was just plain lucky? What if I never was?